Okay, so today we are going to start on our videos on factoring. Today we're going to start with the easiest of factoring. So we're going to be learning about factoring by GCF. So first let's talk about factoring. So factoring is just the opposite of what we've been doing the past few days. So opposite of foiling, opposite of just distributing, opposite of multiplying a binomial times a trinomial, things like that. In case you guys don't remember, GCF stands for greatest common factor. So what we're going to be doing in these is we're going to be looking at trinomials and pulling out the greatest common factor of each term inside that trinomial. Okay, let's look at our first example. So our first example is 4x cubed plus 6x squared minus 14x. So we want to look at each of these terms here and determine what the greatest common factors of each three are. First, let's look at the coefficients. So the greatest common factor of our coefficients is going to be 2, because 2 is the only thing that goes into all three of them. Now we're going to look at our variables, because since they all have a variable, every single term has a variable, that means that we can pull out one of the variables. When you're looking at variables, to pull them out, you want to pull out the one with the smallest exponent. You can only do that if all three terms have variables. So in this case, all three terms do. So the biggest number of x's we can pull out is 1, right? Okay, now we're just going to rewrite it. So 4x to the third divided by 2x, it's going to be 2x squared plus 2x squared divided by 2x, it's going to be 3x minus 14x divided by 2x, so minus 7. Now, this should look a little bit familiar to you. This should look like something we've been doing in the past few days. If you guys want to check your answer, you can go through and distribute everything. You do not have to. That's not required. But that's all you have to do. That will be our final answer right there. Fairly simple. Let's look at another example. Okay, this one's going to be a little bit harder because we have two different types of variables. Okay, first, look at our coefficients. So we got negative 50, 45, and 20. So the biggest number that we can pull out of all of those is going to be 5. Then we're going to look at our variables. So let's look at our y's first. So we have y to the 6th, y squared, and y squared. So since they all have y's, that means we can pull out some y's, and we can pull out 2, because they all have a greatest common factor of y squared. Then we can look at our x's. So we only have x's on 2 of the terms. That means we can't take out any x's. So that should be all that's going to go outside of our parentheses. Now we're going to divide each term by 5y squared. So negative 50 y to the 6th x divided by 5y squared is going to be negative 10 y to the 4th x. And then we're going to have 9 x, because the y squareds are going to cancel, plus 4. Just divide each term by 5y squared. And again, if you want to check your answer, you can distribute it, but that is going to be our final answer. Okay, let's go look at another example. Again, we got multiple variables on this one. We're going to start with the coefficients though. So the greatest common factor of 45, 72, and 36 is going to be 9. Okay, now we're going to look at our x's. So since we have x's on all of them, That means we can take some x's out. So we want to find the smallest exponent and take that many out. So x to the third is going to be how many x's we take out. Okay, then we can look at our y's. And since we have a y on every term, we're going to take out the smallest exponent. It's going to be y to the first, because that one's our smallest. Then we have our parentheses, and now we're going to divide each term by 9x cubed y. So 45x cubed y divided by 9x cubed y is going to be 5, because both of our variables are going to cancel. Then we're going to divide the second one. So negative 72 divided by 9 is going to be negative 8. X to the fourth over x to the third is x. Or y to the third over y is going to be y squared. And we have our last one, 36 divided by 9 is 4. X to the fifth divided by x to the third is x squared. And y to the fifth over y is going to be y to the fourth. And that is our final answer. I do recommend you guys do go back and distribute them to check your answers on these first few, just to make sure that you're doing them right, because you don't want to miss anything. Okay, let's look at our last example. So take a second. What looks different about this one than the other ones we've looked at? You should notice that there are no coefficients. So we're only dealing with variables. So if there's no coefficients, we just skip that first little step that I was talking about. And we're going to look at b's because that's the first variable I see. So we see there's b's in each one of them. So that means we can pull out a b. Remember, we want to take the smallest exponent, so 5. So and then there's only a in one term, so we can't pull out any a's. So we have b to the 8th divided by b to the 5th, which is going to be b to the 3rd. We have b to the 6th over b to the 5th, which is just going to be b. And b to the 5th a over b to the 5th is just going to be a. And that's going to be your final answer again. So that's all you're doing for this set of problems. I'd like you guys to go on and do the practices and then do the assessment for me. If you have any questions, let Mr. Oker or I know through email or Zoom. We're on 3 times a day to help you guys with questions if you need them. Thank you. Have a great day.